Welcome back to my channel. Today I want to have a chat through some of my best and worst purchases of 2022 so far. I realized we're about halfway through 2022 already, and since I don't do monthly favorites, I thought this would be a good time to pull together some of my favorites and then also some of the things that have been a little bit disappointing. Without a doubt, my best purchase of the year so far has been the Loewe Mini Puzzle Bag. I have to put this first because I've really used this the most out of anything else I've purchased. It's been my daily bag for the last 6 months. There are definitely days that I reach for other bags, but most of the time, and when in doubt, this is the one that I've been using. I purchased my bag from my Teresa, and this color combination was one of the ones on sale. So it was basically 2/3 of the original price because I believe this is a seasonal color, so it went on sale at the end of the season. It's got a bit of sage green on the bag, so this is actually a light green, and then the rest of the bag is very neutral with a cream and a black. Even though this bag is quite light in the color, I find it very practical because the handle and the top of the bag is black. This is where I feel like bags get the most wear, and this is where I don't want it to be a light color. The handle can easily get dirty if it's white, same with the top of the bag that you touch all the time, and it just feels like a very practical placement of color. Over the last 6 months, the only wear and tear I've really noticed is that the bag has softened up, so it has become a bit slouchier, which I actually prefer. The mini is the one that's meant to slouch the least compared to the small and the medium, but even then, I've noticed that it slouches more. And that is actually the look that I like about this bag. The crossbody strap definitely comes quite long, so I just did a simple knot, which I learned from a YouTube video. And once I knotted it, it comes at the perfect length when I wear it crossbody. In terms of what this bag fits, this is the iPhone 12 Pro Max, and when it's empty, it goes in really easily. As the bag gets more full, you do have to maneuver it a little bit to get it in. This fits all of my daily essentials very comfortably, and I feel like the mini size is my personal preference. Aside from the quality of this bag being really great, the main reason why I think it's one of my best purchases is because this bag feels very unique. I feel like the puzzle design is so unique and beautiful, but I also think that this is one of the few luxury bags that really give that modern but casual feel. A lot of bags are quite glam, especially logo bags, and I like how wearable and casual this one feels. So that's probably the reason I've been using it the most. My lifestyle is pretty casual. I'm not going to really glam places all the time, so it makes this bag very practical for my personal style. A few years ago, I would have probably not considered this bag because I tended to prefer really structured, formal bags, but as my style has evolved, I feel like I wear a lot of blazers, a lot of tailored trousers, and I always want to offset that with something a bit more casual for the outfit to look effortless. If I wore my blazers with a really structured bag, I think it can sometimes look like I'm going to work, whereas this bag with the blazer can still look quite effortless and casual while being polished. The first worst purchase I want to talk about is actually an item that I really love, but I just wish I chose a few things differently. The item I'm talking about are these Hereu shoes, and Hereu is a brand that I think has very beautiful craftsmanship and quality, and obviously the designs are just very unique and beautiful. However, the thing about these shoes is that as the shoe wears and as the strap softens, the shoe becomes really hard to do up. I know that it seems like a really small thing, but it's really the thing that's stopping these shoes from being my everyday shoe. I only wear them occasionally because you really do have to fuss with the strap. On one side of the shoe, it's much easier to do up than the other, so it's kind of telling me that as this shoe wears, as the strap edges fray a little bit more, it becomes harder and harder to get it through the buckle. I've never really experienced this before. I've definitely owned Mary Janes with thin straps like this one, but it's never been this much of a pain to get on. Since I love the design of these shoes so much, I don't even regret purchasing these. My only regret is that I didn't purchase this style instead. The style that I put up on the screen I think is a much more practical option. The strap you can see is a little bit thicker, and because of that it just seems like it would be a lot more practical to get on and off. But beyond that, I actually really like the slightly thicker sole. I think it works really nicely with the shoe, and it would be my preference if I was to do this again. When people ask me if I recommend the Hereu shoes, I always say yes because the design is so beautiful, but I always recommend that style as opposed to this one. Even though I'm not completely happy with the design of this particular style, I do love Hereu shoes, and they're definitely one of my favorite shoe brands. I recently was looking for a pair of black loafers, and I decided to pick up this style from Hereu. The style is very subtle but beautiful, and I'm confident that this is a shoe that I'm going to wear a lot more than this one, just because it's less fiddly. My next couple of favorites are all from Tibi, and especially from their sales. If you don't know the brand Tibi, they're a contemporary luxury designer based in New York City, and I just think that their clothes are incredibly versatile. Their whole branding is that they make clothes for creative pragmatists, people who like to balance creativity with pragmatism, and all of their clothing is meant to be chill, modern, and classic. That's their whole philosophy that they design around. A lot of the clothing I purchase from them becomes an instant staple in my wardrobe because everything is incredibly classic and it's chill, it's modern, and everything that I look for in staples. This is a coat I purchased recently when they had their 50% off sale. So I had this on my wish list for a while, and I basically snapped it up the moment I saw the sale. I really love this coat because it's very lightweight, which is perfect for Australian winters. I like the versatility where it's very oversized, but with any coat you can easily tie it at the back and then cinch the coat in and make it slightly more fitted as well. Even though I haven't had this piece for the longest, this is definitely one of my best purchases so far this year. I'm gonna add in an honorable mention to these pieces. I didn't even purchase this year, this was from last year, but I've been wearing it quite often lately. It's just a sweatshirt with a cool scallop sleeve design, and whenever I'm wearing a sweatshirt but I still want to look quite polished, this is the one I go for. It has a very strong shoulder, and I think it just makes it a bit more unique. This piece here is Tibi's take on the white blouse, and I really love this drop shoulder design as well as this cool neckline detail. It's really simple, it doesn't make this piece less of a classic, but it feels really elevated when I wear it. The reason why previously I said Tibi on sale is my favorite is just because I see that so many of their pieces go on sale twice a year, and it's not like a 20% off sale. They usually go from 50 to 70% off, and that's when I pick up pretty much all of my Tibi pieces. This is another sweatshirt I own from them. It's got that similar neckline design, but this is super cool because you can either wear it at the front and you can also push it to the back. This is just a casual sweatshirt, but because of this elevated design as well as the beautiful color, I think it can look very stylish in an outfit. So many of my Tibi pieces, which I've added to my wardrobe from the sales, have very quickly become core pieces in my wardrobe, and these are without a doubt some of the best purchases from the year. One of the worst purchases for me this year so far has been this knitted t-shirt, and I got this t-shirt online, so I didn't get to see it in person. But once it arrived, I put it on and it just didn't feel quite right. I got this piece around the same time as I was doing my color analysis, and it really got me thinking that in my wardrobe, even though I wear white shirts all the time or white blouses, they're never as stark white as this one. I think on my skin tone, this just doesn't quite look natural, especially compared to some of the softer whites and creams that I like to wear. Beyond the cream, in my wardrobe, the white blouses I go for are definitely still a little bit softer than this one. And I think because they're usually a little bit sheerer, more of my skin tone kind of shows through them. Whereas this is also a bit thicker, and therefore it just looks very white. I've always known that there are different shades of white and different shades can suit us more or less, but I don't think I've ever had something as white or as stark as this one. and it's just not quite working out. This is really a very beautiful piece of clothing, but I do regret adding it to my wardrobe. Something I've been doing this year that I want to continue for the rest of the year is trying to find balance between knowing my style and being confident in knowing what I like, but also trying to experiment beyond that. I say it's a fine line because too much experimenting means that I'm just wearing anything and everything, but too little just means things get boring. My happy place is somewhere in the middle. The reason why I want to explain this is because at the start of the year, I wore a lot of midi and maxi skirts, and I still do, but all of my midi skirts and maxi skirts were in the exact same style. They were often printed or floral, and it would be in a viscose material, and it would have a little bit of fullness on the bottom. All of them looked exactly like that. During the year, I decided to add these two skirts to my wardrobe, and it just introduced some new silhouettes to my style. This one is a maxi skirt. It's got this rib knit texture, and it's a longer, leaner shape than what I'm used to. And this skirt, on the other hand, is a faux pattern skirt in an A-line shape. This one's a bit shorter, and it's a bit more kind of A-line than a lot of the shapes I wear. Both of these silhouettes are quite unique in my wardrobe, and that's why it's in my best purchases category. But you can kind of see that these pieces are both within my comfort zone, but I'm also pushing myself to try new silhouettes and styles as well. This is a question that I want to continuously ask when I'm purchasing new things. Am I introducing new and interesting silhouettes to my wardrobe? Or am I just repeating the same things and buying duplicates of items I already have in my wardrobe? Sometimes experimenting works really well, and then other times it just doesn't quite work that well. So on my worst purchases list, I've also got this AGOLDE or a Goldie jacket, and it's a beautiful denim jacket, very soft, good quality denim. It has a drop shoulder, which is something that I love. It's a crop shape, and everything about it I feel like should work, but I've just never managed to create an outfit that I love with this jacket. Anytime I've worn this in the last 3-4 months that I've had it, the outfit has felt a little bit average, and I've always just kind of wished that I was wearing a blazer or a coat or something else instead. I've got no plans at all of letting this jacket go, but it's just about continuing to figure out how to style this, how to wear it in a way that's going to make me love it. I've just popped this jacket inside the coat, and when I go out later today, I might try and wear it like this. The fact that I love wearing this jacket inside the coat, which is very long line and also a bit more fluid, is telling me that maybe I can recreate this with other pieces like that. Instead of wearing this denim jacket with the white jeans, this skirt, or even this skirt, these are all a little bit rigid. I can try it with something flowy and long on the bottom. In the past, I've worn this jacket with flowy trousers before, and that outfit was probably my favorite look that I've created with this jacket. So I'm just gonna continue to experiment in that direction and hopefully get a lot more wear from this jacket soon. If you have something similar in your wardrobe where it's just sitting there and you're not loving it, maybe think about the best outfit you've created and continue to experiment in that direction. That's what I want to do, and hopefully we come up with some good outfits soon. My next best style purchase, I think, are not going to be the most popular, but I'm talking about these loafers. These loafers are a little bit chunky, they're a little bit strange, so not everyone's favorite, but I think this purchase has made me realize that I'm a huge loafer fan. I often do a ton of walking in my life. When I'm wearing heels, I'm wearing a block heel, but oftentimes I prefer a flat just for the everyday. I don't really like ballet flats for my body shape. I prefer a shoe that has a bit more substance to it. I find it more balancing on my leg shape, so loafers have been my go-to. These are the Morris loafer from Tibi. I feel like the Tibi love is so strong, but I recently also wanted to go for something a bit more classic, and that's why I purchased the Hereu loafer in black. I haven't received them yet, so I hope they work out, but a black loafer and these loafers I think are just going to be core shoe staples for me in my wardrobe. With all of my shoes that come with a leather sole, I like to get a rubber sole put on them, and it just helps lengthen the life of the sole. In terms of the quality of these Tibi Morris loafers, I feel like it's a very durable shoe. It feels like a very thick leather material. Alongside that, it's also a shoe that I think takes a little bit of time to break in. They're very comfortable for me now, but it's more of a hard, structured leather shoe design. In the 6 months or so I've had this shoe, I haven't really noticed any wear and tear because it does feel like a really hard, sturdy leather as opposed to a really soft, supple leather. So definitely something to keep in mind, but overall happy with this shoe. The last item that I regret purchasing for this year is this little set from Reformation. I found this in Sydney at David Jones and it was on the sale rack, so it was quite heavily discounted. But even then, I'm not sure it was worth it. So I only wore it a couple of times, I washed it a couple of times, and I feel like the material hasn't really worn that well. I don't know how well you can see, it's nothing serious, but the material definitely feels like it bubbled a little bit after a couple of washes. This little set is made from a dead stock fabric, and I feel like the overall quality of it is not quite matching with the price. Something else about this set is that I feel like it technically suits me. So the color, the silhouette fits me really well, but I just don't feel myself in it, and I think it doesn't quite work with my personal style. You can kind of see that a lot of the things that I like are a little bit more modern, relaxed in feeling, and this set for me just doesn't quite fit in with that look. And because of that, I don't think that I feel my best when I'm wearing it. If I'm going out for dinner or at night, I much prefer wearing the top I'm wearing right now with something like this faux leather skirt. I will feel a lot more chic than I would in this set, even though this suits my body shape and coloring a bit more. When it comes down to it, I think it's about figuring out what's the most important to you. But for me, I would choose clothing that I love, that suits my personal style, over clothing that technically works for my body and coloring any day. I will continue to wear this set, but honestly, I don't have very high hopes about the longevity. I'm gonna finish up this video by sharing with you my final best purchase, and it's this little baby sterling silver lock from Marla. This piece is not necessarily the most eye-catching or the most statement, but I wanted to include it because I feel like it's one of my more unique jewelry finds. There's a lot of versatility to this lock, and over here I've just worn it on my oxidized silver chain, but other times I wear it on this necklace chain, and both of these chains are from Marla, and you kind of basically use the locks to finish the chain. On the lock, you can also add pendants of your choice, so I often have this gold coin pendant on my necklace. I especially like it when the lock is on the bracelet, and I think that it has a more unisex look to it, and it doesn't lean overly girly like a lot of jewelry does. This is definitely one of the more unique jewelry pieces that I've come across, so I wanted to include it in today's video. Those were my best and worst purchases of the year so far. I'm definitely happy to do an updated version at the end of the year if that's something that you'll like to see. Thank you so much for watching. Let me know if you have any best or worst purchases yourself, and I'll see you next week. Bye.